Okay, so we had a little interruption. Sorry about that. So I'm gonna read you the question I was on. Darlene says, "Your first book in physical print is the Dorman Prophecy, which takes place in a mystical forest. In the chapter titled Virtues of the Heart, Simon is explaining love to Joseph as the wholeness of human virtues. In particular, the six heart virtues of appreciation, compassion, forgiveness, humility, understanding, and valor. Why are these six heart virtues so important, and how do they play a part in our daily lives?"
So James Mahu's response to that is I think just so wonderful, so beautiful. He says love is a word concept that is brimming with nested energies and subtleness. It is used in our collective culture somewhat casually without much thought to what it consists of. Most people shrug, smile, and simply shake their heads in silence if they are asked to define love. Some people will dress love in the costume of divinity and call it divine or unconditional love, and leave it at that. I wanted to show the architecture of love. The architecture of love. The six heart virtues are the rooms in the home of love. They are not word concepts, they are behaviors. The acquisition of behavioral intelligence is the task each of us is performing day to day, whether we realize it or not. It is what life brings. We are all learning to forgive, to be humble, to express compassion, to be empathetic, and understand the other's point of view, and so on. These are the qualities of love. And if we can pay attention to the branches of love, then love is expressed more completely in our lives. This is the equivalent of consciousness, because consciousness is love. Consciousness is love. Thus, if you want to bring more of yourself, your consciousness, to this reality we call human life, then the six heart virtues and their expressions is a good way to do it. The counsel to be love is easy to say or repeat, but surprisingly little has been written or even artistically expressed that actually provides a framework to do so. This is changing. The six heart virtues are part of this change. You have page 2? The next one is page 2. Yep, that one there. That's it.
Okay. So next question Darlene asks is, in your second book, Quantism, your main character, Solomon, tells the story in his own words. His story explores the discovery of a technology called the Grand Portal, which will allow humankind to see the soul and realize its inmost identity as the sovereign integral. What is the importance of the Grand Portal and sovereign integral in your writings?
Okay, so James Mahu answers, the Grand Portal is the kernel of my entire body of work. It is the focal point of which every sentence, brushstroke, music composition, stanza, and voice bends in unity and deference. The Grand Portal is the irrefutable scientific discovery of the human soul. The scientific does not necessarily mean that science will discover it, but rather that it is repeatable. The discovery can move across all of humanity, like an ocean wave passes over a shoreline of sand particles, carrying them to a new place of understanding. This is an expression, and this is an expansion of consciousness that lifts all of humanity. What is its spark? What causes this shift and expansion? It always begins with one. One consciousness peers into the abyss and sees the reality from illusion. They see the human consciousness is a melding of I am and we are. This is the framework of the sovereign integral consciousness, of which every human is. We are the consciousness of I am, we are. While many of us have accepted the social programming that humans are I want, you want, we compete, this is shifting. In the next 70 years or so, humanity will journey to this grand portal experience, and will we be called to understand a new level of our existence. It is not a biomechanical merging with technology, but rather an elemental, stripped down essence of our truest humanity, the sovereign integral consciousness embodied in a human instrument, living upon earth.
Okay, next question. In 2009, you asked John Burgess to edit and provide commentary on all the Wingmakers material, resulting in a 2-volume collected works of the Wingmaker set. Volume 1, filled with stunning, enigmatic color graphics, was released a year ago. How can readers make the most of this important work and tap into the many layers it offers?
James Mahu responds, The Wingmakers is a challenging work. It is not written to this 8th grade level that so many authors and publishers target. It is designed for any age because of its diverse media, but generally, the older audience is drawn to it because they have been through the journey and they have sampled dozens of other systems of beliefs and practices. Most of these systems were, to varying degrees, institutionalized, which is to say, they have been organized by a group of people for a range of purposes. They have leaders, buildings, places of worship, places of indoctrination, rules, ceremonies, and the like. And I'm not only speaking of religions here, academics have similar structures. When someone comes to the Wingmakers materials and the collected works, in particular, they can open the book and let their inmost self guide the process. They do not need to read linearly. Everyone can go through the book in their own manner. I would recommend that they be patient and look to embed whatever it is that they resonate with in their behaviors. Don't simply make mental deposits. Find a way to incorporate what resonates philosophically into your behaviors, and then observe how it redirects and reorients you. As I said in a previous answer, this work is an architectural drawing of love, but it is also a catalyst to awaken. The world around us is adept at inducing slumber. All people need to remain awake to their inner selves and aspirations. They must cultivate and nurture that aspect within themselves that I refer to as the sovereign integral. This is what the collective works can provide. John Burgess did a wonderful job of creating the bridge work that helps people see these esoteric materials as accessible and useful in their daily lives.
Okay. Your newest novel series, The Weather Composer, centers on the life of Taran Khan, a boy born in a remote area of Iran at the same moment that a catastrophic sunstorm creates major disruptions on the planet. Taran has a keen intellect and inner drive to be educated, leading to fast-paced and surprising adventure. His story is about controls and how he reacts to them. How do you see the future for our young people in a world of controls?
James Mahu responds, his answer is, the controllers exist for one purpose. They compete to control resources. It is the best game in town, as they would invariably put it. Highest stakes, highest drama, highest rewards, this is what motivates them. Taran Khan and his inner circle really represent the consciousness of the new generation that will come onto the planet and bring their considerable intellects, energies, ideas, and innovations to solve the most intractable problems that humanity is dealing with. This will require new leadership methodologies and new educational platforms, which they will bring. A global communication network, internet, is the key technology that indicates a species is on the road to the grand portal. It is the back door to consciousness exploration, and the new leadership and educational platform will flourish on the internet. Everything is moving away from centralization, and the controllers realize this. They have attempted to prevent it, but they see that it is inevitable. Like a dam that holds back an incredible force of water, and the dam cracks are building. The next 3 generations will decentralize economies, educational processes, wealth, and even government. Hyperlocal, decentralized, but globally connected communities will prosper, and these will be the building blocks to a new social order based largely on egalitarian meritocracy. The controllers will die off in the world. Their purpose will be undone. I believe in these new generations and their ability to operate at a higher level of understanding. There will remain detractors and those who will try to remain in the old systems, but their numbers will dwindle precipitously, and each new generation of humans, with each new generation of humans and technology.
Okay, so final question Darlene asks is, what exercises or techniques can you recommend to help us live from a higher consciousness while at the same time living in our 3-dimensional world?
So, in answer to that last question by Darlene of Planet Work Press, James Mahu says, the practice of the 6 heart virtues is a good foundation in terms of behavioral wisdom, and the practice of quantum pause is a good way to renew one's commitment to the 6 heart virtues in their life, as well as activating and expanding their imaginative faculties. You can find out more about these at www.wingmakers.com. So Aurora, can you see how having this information, having this interview here now, and you asking me about the book that I wrote, how could I not talk about this instead? Because this is the Wingmakers material. These books are the inspirational aspects that have helped me to link up to that higher self, and have my own journey of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of me talking about some book that I had done, I think that we should be talking about these books,
Mm-hmm.
and telling the whole world about these books.
Mm-hmm.
That's my feeling.
Yeah, I see. I mean, the book is just, it's an amazing thing that you created, but it's a creation out of the inspiration and the journey that you went through.
Absolutely.
From these materials.
Absolutely.
And that's what you want to talk about.
Absolutely. And I think the key word is the journey of consciousness, and
Mm-hmm.
it's such, this is actually when Darlene Burgess mentioned to me, hey, did you see the new interview, this and that? I really didn't take a good look at it. And then when I did, I realized how brilliant it was and how it really resonates with a new culture.
Mm-hmm.
This is all about creating a new culture. And in my mind, quantum culture, but nevertheless, a new culture.
Mm-hmm.
So the Wingmakers material are the catalyst for the new culture.
Mm-hmm.
And working with the 6 heart virtues and the framework of the 6 heart virtues
Mm-hmm.
is one of the foundational principles
Mm-hmm.
of this new culture.
So it helps, or the Wingmakers material bring you into, I guess I want to say it's like navigating who you are, who we are outside of the 5 sense, like material world, physical world, and bringing that into the quantum world, right?
Well, I think that the information is out there now. I mean, quantum physics is many people are getting involved in the understanding of quantum physics and coming to the understanding of multidimensional reality on their own.
Okay, I want to rephrase that then. So it's
Okay.
basically a statement saying, I mean, I as myself know that, like, a lot of, I don't know, everything that's going on, it's just like very based on material things, or, you know, based on you have to go buy this, or you have to go do this, or pay for this, or, you know, learn from this teacher or whatever to get to the place that you're searching for. And this material isn't telling you to do anything like that.
No, and to me that's the beauty of what James Mahu is doing, is that, and I think it's brilliant that he's chosen to be anonymous, because in my experience over 20, almost 30 years of following different teachings and individuals, as a seeker on the path to the higher self, what you do is you tend to give your power up to other people, other things.
Yeah.
And what Mahu is doing is simply saying, hey, I'm a translator of this material. Here it is. It's designed to stimulate you and activate you into your quantum presence and understand the wholeness paradigm and working for a better humanity. And to me, those are the keys. It's not about a belief system. It's not about people being in control or in charge or create an organization. It's about here's the activation resources. Let's work together and do something with it. And what he's doing also, and I think what's going to come about even more now, is this idea of quantum communities, which is also ingenious. And you have your quantum presence, you have quantum communities. Well, what does that make? It makes a quantum culture.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're going to have. We're going to have a quantum culture. No matter what, it's going to be a quantum culture. People might call it something different, but that's what it will be. And that's the beauty of this material again. So, you know what? I would like to finish by reading a chapter from James Mahu's second novel called the Battlefield.
The Battlefield Begins.
The Battlefield Begins. Yeah, is the book there? Why don't you hand it to me and we'll see.
Oh, The Battlefield is Born.
Yes, pardon me. It's The Battlefield is Born. And it's a perfect way to leave off this little talk here on consciousness, because this particular chapter in here is on consciousness. And this book is called The Battlefield is Born, and it's book 2 in the series The Weather Composer. And actually, you know what, Aurora, as I'm thinking about this, what would be really neat is to go ahead and if you do the editing of this video, and if you do anything with it, go ahead and you would edit what I'm saying out too.
Yeah.
But we would go ahead and put in the graphics of the books. So I think that would be really, really good to do. So anyhow, let's finish by reading this chapter, okay? Because it's on consciousness. And it's chapter 28. Chapter 28. It's a relatively short chapter, so we'll go quick. But this is really, really interesting, and it's almost as if Mahu is you're driving down the highway in a car and of this book, and you know each chapter is a different mile mark, and you're going like in third gear, and all of a sudden the clutch goes in, and you change it and you put it in fourth gear. But as you push that clutch in, there's a little hesitation, and that little hesitation is like this space and time to insert a really beautiful, wonderful understanding of consciousness. So here we go. Chapter 28, The Weather Composer, The Battlefield is Born, Consciousness. I am quite certain that you believe you know me, yet I am the secret of the world. I am so secret that when you are asked about me, you look to the mirror unknowing that I have been exchanged for an impostor. I have adapted to invisibility. You have suckled on the vapors of a mirage for so long that you have become part of it, indistinguishable from it. Consciousness. That is what I am. Of course, we can all say that, can't we? But what makes my consciousness unique, apart from the accolades of my name, is that when I arrive within a body, human instrument, I do not confuse the instrument with myself. As any of you know who have studied the subject of consciousness, I am not easy to pin down. In fact, no one has ever pinned me down. Philosophers, physicists, biologists, chemists, prophets, even cosmologists have sought to expose me. Their treasure maps are dotted with the central symbols of higher mathematics. Their rainbows dive into a 3-pound gelatin mass that exonerates their quest. Their writings imagine me, but I remain an enigma. Every one of them will tell you this, if they are honest. They can walk right up to you, up to the abyss, look into my face, and they see something that does not compute. That's me. I do not compute. How can the observable universe be 28 billion light years across, and yet it is contained in a brain that is 15 centimeters long? As I said, I do not compute. Consciousness is not an external. It is not a physical. It is not possessed of anything temporal or spatial. You can report on the effects of me. You can pin down the neural pathways, the areas of the brain that do this and that, but the experiencer, me, is still missing. The subjective ethers swell with my imperceptibility. Do you know why I am clothed in myth? Because imagination, the only tool of the human instrument that can sense me, I am like the universe before the time of Galileo, waiting for the telescope. There is also belief, but belief is easily manipulated by the things called religion and science. For example, I am consciousness. I am not a name, a person, a gender, a race, nor am I beholden to a time or place. Every instance, when someone maneuvers their belief to a name or a person, they divide me. The moment I am divided, I cease to exist in the sun. When I enter a person fully and they embody me, they often end up being persecuted in one way or another. I don't mean to do this to attract persecution. It is one of the hazards of my presence, because most people, if they want to see me featured in a human instrument at all, they want to see me in one human expression. It's okay if I am in Jesus, but then I can also be in Muhammad or Buddha, Krishna, and certainly not you. It makes it simpler when I am owned and operated by one religion. And that's why I started out the way I did. It doesn't allow myself to become a brand. The figureheads are produced by the zealots. But in fact, I cannot be branded or owned. I already implied that. I know, but in the case where there is any lingering doubt, you may squash it now. Consciousness transcends all human aspirations. Aspiration. Read that again. I'll wait. So everybody can say that. Allow me to interpret for you. This is important, so I want to make sure you understand. Every human aspiration you can define, like love, truth, beauty, faith, God, goddesses, the theory of everything. In parentheses, he says, I must include something for my science friends. These are all dualistic concepts. They reek of polarity. Take one as an example. I'll choose God, since it is the hardest. You might be inclined to choose Satan as the polar opposite of God, but I will suggest something a little less personal: separation. God is the concept of unification. God is the universal Father, of which we are all children. So God is the unifying force, the creator, the force that is first cause and first source. But all of these concepts are pregnant with polarity. If we are to assume a unifying creator, then mustn't we also include a dividing destroyer? That's my point. Consciousness isn't part of this concept we call duality. Until you get around that, you cannot see me truly. I hear your thoughts screaming in the back seat. How do we do that? Even in that thought, you see a path, a formula, a duality appears. I know this is hard. I know that it is a wall you run into, some more frequently than others, but everyone hits this wall eventually. All I can tell you is that you should not despair when you cannot see me. I am still here. Remember that telescope called imagination. Use it. Use it just before you go to sleep. Use it when you write your innermost thoughts. Use it when you look into another's eye. Use it when you speak with your children. Use it as often as you can. and you still may never find me, but then, as I told you, I am the secret of the world. I will share a small secret with you, even as I cannot share myself. I am, we are, is the closest collection of words that describe me. I think what we'll do is we'll leave it there and let anybody who wants to get the book and read it and read the rest for themselves.
That's a good idea.
How's that?
Yeah. Okay.
So really, it's not about my book. It's about the activating principles of these materials, the Wingmakers.
All right. Well, thank you, Dad.
You're welcome, Aurora.